like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Shout out to the mighty Who That Nation, man. We in this thing, Sports Coma, representing Late Stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. We have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. What's popping, fam? How y'all doing on this middle of the week stream? Shout out to the fam. Shout out to the Patreon champions, the YouTube membership family. Got the latest vid is on there. The reaction to Dennis Allen's press conference, the 40-something odd minute situation. We got it posted up on our Patreon for our family members. Yesterday, we had some internet issues. We got all that resolved, man. Finally got all of that crap resolved. We are good to go. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you. Now, in this stream, man, Saints update concerns over Ramczyk's knee. Now, y'all put in the chat, man. And of course, before I get into it, there's a poll that I posted in the chat because I did see the article where I think it was Vegas. We'll cover it today. We'll talk about it, where they gave the DraftKings, that's who it was, DraftKings Sportsbook pretty much picked the Saints amount of wins this upcoming season. We'll cover that today. You guys feel good, feel free to chime in the poll that's up currently about how many wins you guys think the Saints will get this upcoming year. No, it's prematurely, but we can all feel free to chime in the chat. Let me hear what you guys think about that. Big ups to the fam. Appreciate each and every last one of y'all. Our day ones in the building. OG Jerry, Young City. Shout out to you, Trey. What's happening, my brother? Good to see you. He said, Q, you called it with Ram. Bro, it ain't hard to call, bro. It's not hard to call at all, bro. It really isn't. Shout out to the fam, man. Young City, Bronze Power Guard. Good to see you. Bullet Family Travel Vlog. Shout out to you, fam. Good to see you, brother Carlton. How you doing, sir? Appreciate you. Dana, shout out to my queens out there as well. Much love to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, the support. What's up, DJ? Shout out to my boy DJ in the building as well. Brother Greg is in this thing as well. No OG action is, no, they're not fired yet, brother. Not even close. But anyway, yes, we talked about this ad nauseum, man. We mentioned it. It's kind of late in the game. We knew Ryan Ramczyk's issues with his knee is bad. The minor surgery, when they did the minor surgery, I said that wasn't going to work. You can't, if you need major surgery, getting minor surgery is not going to help it. It's not going to heal right. It's not going, and that should have been told to him. And it should at some point come to the realization that somebody of a higher authority in the Saints building should speak to this man and let him know, listen, you know, football is secondary to you walking for the rest of your life. We want to make sure you good. You see, somebody got to tell him and shut him, because ultimately if the Saints say, listen, we're going to have to kind of shut you down right here, brother, this is not going to work. because players, you got to protect the player from himself. He just gonna want to play and tear himself up. You can't allow that to happen because most people, not most people, but most athletes are trained that way. And I said trained, I use that purposefully. It's a mentality of even if you hurt, you are trained to play through the pain if you can. That's the overall thought process in being a professional athlete, learning to play through the pain. And the thing about what Ramczyk is, I understand that Ramczyk's a tough guy. I got a lot of respect for Ramczyk. The problem is the injury has hurt, and I'm saying in terms, I'm not a medical doctor. I just play one on the internet. But listen, seriously, I've watched Ramczyk's film. I've watched his games. His play has sorely and terribly disintegrated. I mean, who Ramczyk was before the Saints paid him and who he is now is two different people. Two different people altogether. That knee issue has really just cut him in half, basically. Ram was a dominating force for the Saints before he got paid. And since he got paid the big money when he signed that contract, that knee issue has cut him down severely. And it's unfortunate, but it's a part of football. You made a lot of money, man. The Saints need to really focus on his health over him playing football. And with that being said, I've said that, and I'll continue to say it, that the Saints should have known to approach free agency with looking at finding somebody from a veteran perspective, to sit underneath Ramczyk or kind of steady the line. Now, they did sign Ali Udo, who operates mostly as a guard. But looking at it, I'm like, man, that means now with his knee issue, and Dennis Allen alluded to this, we covered it on our Patreon special, about it not healing as fast as he would like it. We're going to cover it in this article. But yes, bro, we called it. We all was in here calling. I kept saying it, man. You got to protect these guys, man. And now we're in the second, deep into the second layers of free agency. And we're looking at the free agency chart of who's available. And a lot of the guys that could have helped the Saints are off the board. Now, they still have some people there, but that is the purpose of moving and finding the correct fits. Not everybody was getting broke off or chipped off big dough. There's a guy out there that could have came in and kind of steadied the position. Now it looks like that we're kind of positioning ourselves to get ready for the draft. That's exactly what we're doing. That is the posture of the team, is that they're focused on the draft now. So it is what it is, but you got to protect these players from themselves, man. And like I said, Ramczyk's play suffered mightily since that knee issue. It has cut him down to almost nothing. I'm not saying that he's, but from what Ram came from and what we remember Ramczyk being when the Saints drafted him, man, it's so sad to me. Like, because you can see it's ailing to the point where he's not even close to what he was. And, when Teron Armstead left, the idea was to slide Ram from right tackle to left tackle. The only reason why he was over there is because Teron Armstead was better than him for years. But as Teron left and he went to Miami, the move should have been made to move him over there. But they didn't. They kept him at right tackle. And at the time I was saying that don't make any sense. Y'all remember we had this discussion ad nauseum. We talked about it dozens of times. And I would put on shows and talk about why is Trevor Penning playing left tackle? You don't put that guy, a rookie-ass offensive lineman. And we know Penning, has some talent, but it's a difference between Orlando Pace, a Jonathan. I'm talking about guys coming out of college. You know what they are. Like, when that guy steps out there, he's going to dominate. That wasn't Penning. You see Orlando Pace coming. You see the arrival of guys like Willie Rofe. And I'm throwing out some really good players, Jonathan Ogden's, the Tony Busellis. Guys like that, you see them arriving out of college into the NFL. You see who they are and what they could be. And now, like with this current crop of people, you can see the ones that's really going to step up and ball. You see Joe Alt. You see Fashanu. You see guys like that. Even to a degree, you can see it in J.C. Latham, who played opposite end, but you can see him operating at that tackle position. It's a it factor. You see that. You see the behavior in these guys. It's a rhythm. It's a pattern to players that you can see that they can do that. I didn't see that in Penning. I thought Penning would operate as a good right tackle because that's where you want to put him on the right side. But a blind side tackle, that's a special position. That's reserved for your best offensive lineman in most cases, because he will be tasked with the duty of protecting the blind side of your quarterback. You know? But they did not move Ram when Termine left, and I feel like, what is that about? So you're going to trust the quarterback, your veteran quarterback, to a rookie? Look how that turned out. Tell me how that turned out for you. Huh? And it's very crazy. But at the end of the day, now you need two of them. You need two now. You need a right tackle and you need a left tackle. So let's delve into it, man. It's, Ram, it's unfortunate with Ram because Ram was a stellar player, but I'm more concerned about Ramczyk's health. Like our head coach supposed to be concerned about the health of this guy. Not he getting minor surgery wasn't going to cut it. Everybody knew he needed major surgery, but he didn't want to get it because he wanted to maintain playing football. And sometimes that's not in the cards. Go handle your business and come back. New Orleans Saints reportedly concerned about Ryan Ramczyk's status for the 2024 season following knee surgery this offseason. NFL insider Ian Rappaport shared on Tuesday that the team is worried about Saints starting right tackle may miss the season. Fam, we knew this. We talked about this. Minor surgery, man need major surgery. Getting minor surgery is not going to accomplish it. The Saints are preparing for the real possibility that Ryan offensive tackle Ryan Ramczyk is medically not able to play this season. And Coach Dennis Allen alluded to Ramczyk's knee not responding as they hoped. It is unclear whether it will, a true question mark. Not a true question mark to me. Ram should have been shut down during the season, to be honest with you, because every chance they gave him, he was always given rest days. And that knee is not getting any better. But like I said, to kind of jump back to the initial point that I was talking about just a few minutes ago, we talked about how you can look at Ramczyk's play and see it is obviously different. He is not nearly the force that he once was. They got guys that march Ramczyk backwards, like he wearing a pair of skates. It's sad because he simply can't do the job no more, and he needs to go and take care of his business medically, man. And of course, Saints head coach Dennis Allen told reporters at the annual league meetings on Tuesday that Ramczyk's availability remains to be seen. He said that he was feeling better about his tackle's recovery a few weeks ago. The injury that required surgery sidelined him for 5 games during the 2023 season. A few weeks ago, I was feeling a lot better about it, and yet I don't know that I'm seeing as much progress as I was hoping to see at this point. We've got plenty of time. We're just going to have to wait and see how that all goes as we go through all the offseason, as we get in the training camp aspect. There's a long time before we kick the ball off. I wouldn't jump to any conclusions right now, but we'll see how it goes over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it is, before we get to the season. Now, listen, the reality is, if you're the New Orleans Saints, you can't afford to wait 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks for the season. You got a plan for right now. You have to cover all bases. You have to come at this thing like Ramczyk won't be able to play. If he plays, fine. If he doesn't, you have to have a plan in place to replace him. And don't forget, you need a left tackle. So basically, the Saints will be tasked with bookend tackle situations. And we're severely into the second round of the free agent cycle where a lot of these other guys, these starters that had some meaningful minutes, are off the board. Now, they do have some veterans out there. But once again, the situation is also with the Saints and how much money do they want to spend? Right now, the Saints are not really doing the spend the money thing, which is, Mickey Loomis alluded to that. Dennis Allen alluded to that. Even Dennis Lucia was mentioning that as well. So at some point, how do you address the situation? Well, the cheapest route you could take, it will be free agents. The draft, excuse me. Now you could, go into the draft, and right now, according to Over Cap, the Saints have roughly just over $8.3 million. If people asking you what's the cap like right now, 8.3 mil currently, according to Over the Cap. But you have to approach this situation like Ramczyk is not going to be available. Now, if he's available, that's great. But, chances are he's not. Minor surgery is not going to cut it if you need major surgery, bro. That's not going to work. So going into it, they'll have to figure out some kind of way to adjust to Rams' potential lossage, him not being there. And some options are what do the Saints look like? What are they going to do? Now, we know the Saints signed some people defensively. We know about the Chase Young thing. We know about Willie Gay. We know about them bringing in a few guys on defense back, like Jonathan Abrams. Shout out to him. Our guy, bringing him back. Who else was signed? What's your boy name? The little undersized DB who I like a lot. He's back. But another thing is they added a few wide receivers to the Saints side of the offense. But I'm really more interested in the offensive line that they bring. They did bring Ali Udo, who operates mostly as guard, and they saying he could play some tackle. But I'm looking at these tackle positions. Who's in line for these tackle positions? Who are we going to realistically look at? We're looking at the draft. What does our roster look like? Well, you do have Trevor Penning. He's there. And at some point, Penning will have to play. He's a first-round draft pick. Either you're going to trade him or play him. And right now, I think the Saints, they're going to have to find the usage for Trevor Penning. In the guard situation, you bring in Ali Udo. He looking to possibly challenge for the left guard position against guys like James Hurst. Where does Nick Saldiveri fit in this? So there's going to be some interesting battles in terms of camp of who occupies some of these positions. A lot of people thinking that Penning should be converted to a guard. Well, we're looking at all of the guards that the Saints have. Hurst, Udo, and Nick Saldiveri look like, you kind of got a cluttered situation here. But we need more tackles. You see? So right tackle position, if Ram's not good to go, Trevor Penning should be the next guy in there unless the Saints add a veteran or they do something else. You got to justify the pick. You can't have a first-round draft pick offensive lineman and you need tackles. Well, he's a tackle, and you got tackles. Ramczyk is hurting. You got to justify the pick. You got to be able to bring this guy to the forefront. So do you then utilize him at the right tackle position, the position that I thought he should have been starting at when he came into the league, not at the left tackle position? That's a special breed. Right tackle, he possibly can play that position. There's not as much pressure on him to play the right than it is the left. It's a difference. But the left tackle position, is that somebody they go to the draft for? A lot of these questions, we're going to have to wait and see what's going on right with that. So that's a very concern. But listen, shout out to Ryan Ramczyk, man, and his family, man. I know the man loves the game of football, but listen, bro, I know something that's more important than playing football. That's walking straight. Walking and handling your business. You're still young. Go take care of yourself, man. Go take care of yourself, bro. And I'm telling you this straight up, man. As a former athlete, man, don't put money or football over your health, bro. You'll regret it. So, anyway, let's keep it going, man. I just wanted to say that. All right, so let's jump into this one, man. Saints are third in the NFC South with win totals. The over and unders. Now, this was, like I said, this was an article right here that we're going to talk about from DraftKings. DraftKings did this thing, where they had lined up all the NFL teams in 2024, and they do the odd makers do their little thing. And DraftKings Sportbooks released their lines for wins for this season, and it's like their little power ranking. So teams have yet to go through the draft, and those selections often play a pivotal part in how teams were viewed into the offseason. So this is a pre-draft type of situation. Not much bearings, but interesting to see how the odds makers who coming out of Vegas, who ultimately manipulates these games through the referees in the NFL, how they see it. And they see it as this. The New Orleans Saints are currently set at over and under at 7.5 victories. They're on the 8 teams that have a lower win projection. Once again, this falls in line with power rankings that had the Saints in the bottom 8 of the NFL. So that means the Saints will likely be viewed like this going into the next season unless they have a highly regarded draft class. They have to earn stronger expectations after underperforming in 2 years with Dennis Allen at the head coach, finishing 7-10 and then 9-7, haven't been good enough to reach their stated goal, which is the playoffs. New Orleans win projection ranks 3rd in the division. The addition of Kirk Cousins has skyrocketed the Atlanta Falcons. They're tied for the second highest over-under in the NFC with 10.5. Tampa Bay finds themselves slightly above New Orleans with 8.5. The slight difference between the two is reflective of how last year played out. The only team in the division that the Saints are ahead of in terms of what Vegas is thinking about with the under and the over and under is Carolina at 4.5. So this is the thing. So once again, this parallels with the family members' thought process in the poll on how they see. Now, if you haven't got an opportunity to vote on the poll, y'all chime in on the poll. How many wins do, I said the same. See, I be typing fast, bad. Be doing all kind of, it's supposed to be the Saints. How many wins do the Saints get this regular season? 10 plus wins is option 1, 9 wins, 8 to 7 wins, and 6 or less wins. And right now, currently, the poll, by 3%, 10 plus wins. So a lot of who that said the Saints are going to win 10 plus games this season. 33 says 9 wins, 24% says 8 to 7 wins, and just 7% believe the Saints will get 6 or less wins. So that is very interesting. So 10 plus wins, a lot of who that say, man, the Saints going to get 10 wins this season. So shout out to you guys for showing the Saints some love on that regard. All right, let's move on to this article right here. All right, this is by John DeShazer from NewOrleansSaints.com. The offensive system should be a fit for the New Orleans Saints roster, the new system. That system is something that I think has done really well in our league for a long period of time. That's coming from Dennis Allen. A lot of this is sourced from Dennis Allen's interview the other day. And he says offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak will bring with him a proven successful system that fits the current Saints roster and hopefully can be installed seamlessly. He says, I think the system of offense, there's certainly a lot of variations of it. They're not all the same. This is Allen telling people during the NFL's owner meetings, but I think the system is something that I think has done really well in our league and done well in our league for a long period of time. I think it's something that I think we can incorporate, and I think we have the type of players that fit well in that system. I felt like it was a good fit for what we wanted to do. Just from a schematic standpoint, this whole offseason is going to be based on kind of run, play, action game. Drop back is going to be a part of it, but the main emphasis is going to be able to run the ball effectively and be able to create some shot plays in the passing game off of play action. I think that's something we can use. But Allen said the goal is to be physically imposing on offense. I think there's a demeanor to the way in which we want to play offense. That's going to be a physicality with which we're going to have our guys playing. I think that'll be cool to see. So indeed. So he also says with Clint and Rick Dennison and John Benton, these guys have been together. I think there's some continuity in terms of getting the program off the ground and getting started. Now, Kubiak, Dennison worked together in Denver and Minnesota, and Allison also knows the system could take advantage of Carr's athleticism. He says Derek probably doesn't get enough credit for the athlete that he is. I think that his athletic skill set will do well in this scheme. I think some of the things we did kind of later on in the season last year, some of the play action passing game benefited Derek. I thought our passing game came alive a little bit toward the end of the year. I think that's something he'll thrive in this new system. Now, just to talk about that point and a couple others, I'm actually happy to have Clint Kubiak here. I thought that with any system that you run, offensively speaking, we had Sean Payton's system here for 20 years. And the majority of the time, it was a successful system if you ran it correctly. I think why the Saints system failed last year was because you had a milquetoast leader who didn't didn't incorporate the ideologies of holding people accountable when guys make mistakes, calling them out, make sure they fix it, and not coddling guy. The coddlation of Carr last year was ridiculous. The fact that it took him up to the last month of the season to show progress was utterly ridiculous. It was utterly ridiculous. And a lot of it wasn't on Derek Carr. It was on the fact that the Saints could not produce a consistent running attack. We marching into the season, we talked about the success the Saints needed to maintain offensively speaking would have to be proven or put together by the running game. And Carr off the back of the running game. You know what happened? When the Saints started to run the ball in the last month of the season effectively, Carr came alive and he was playing off the back of the running attack, just as we had said. Why? Because early on, Derek Carr did not know the system well enough to be able to go out there and win you football games. You needed the running attack to take the pressure off of him and him operate off the play action. And that gave him a chance to kind of get going. Early on, the Saints couldn't consistently do that. And he shared a lot of it, but a lot of the blame falls not just on Dennis Allen, but on his guy, his offensive coordinator, who was too milquetoast. And Dennis Allen could have yanked the guy and put somebody else in there and say, hey, man, listen, let's get this other guy in here and see what he can do. But he sat on his ass for the rest of the season. And like I said, then comes out and says he's pissed at the back end of the season. So from an energy standpoint, like I said, I've been watching this team for a long time. I don't know what to make of the Saints. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm not just talking about the moves that they're making, but listening to Mickey Loomis, listening to Dennis Allen, listening to Dennis Lucia, who's Mickey Loomis's boss, I'm not really impressed with the Saints this year. But I do hear for the first time, they're talking about being conservative with the cap. And that's something that really they were leaning on to improve the team. Now that they're having more of a reserve approach from an economic standpoint, because Mickey's blaming it's because of COVID, COVID did that, what can I tell you? COVID, that's why. What year was COVID, Mickey? Wasn't that in 2019, bro? Oh, well, yeah, I think you're right on that. Okay, so what year is it now? Well, you know what year it is. 2014. 2024. You're messing me up here. Hold on now. No, stop the C19 garbage. Cut that out. It wasn't exclusively because of that. It was a lot of mismanagement that happened during that period of time. That why the Saints are in this money position. We often joked about the kicking of the can, the cooking of the books, and the kicking of the can. It's coming home to roost because the Saints are not getting value from their draft picks or getting additional value about many of the free agents that they're bringing in. Case in point, you had a guy like Marcus May, who that was not a good signing for the Saints. The Saints signed Marcus May. He was hurt half the damn time. It was not a good look. And he was coming off something negative that happened. And it just, what happened down here and him not playing, it was not a good look. So the Saints cut him. But good pickup for Jordan Howden, who's a cheaper player they can plug in. So they'll just try to save some money on the move. But we knew that was going to happen. We knew Marcus May played himself out of here because Jordan Howden got enough time to be able to learn the game. And he stepped in and did that. Credit to them doing that. On Jordan Howden, a later on pick in the draft. But what about guys like Davenport? What about guys like Peyton Turner? Isaiah Foskey, who's a second-round pick, the Saints picked up just last year after they drafted Brian Bresee. And then now he's buried on the depth chart behind the likes of guys like Carol Granderson, Chase Young, Cam Jordan, Peyton Turner himself, and then eventually Isaiah Foskey. And depending on Foskey, you might have Tanu Passanio playing past him. So he might be behind Passanio depending on how they use him. So how is he supposed to develop? You see what I'm saying? So at some point you want to draft guys, but you don't want to bring guys on a team that's going to smother the young talent that you have. And you got these guys on the window. So, and then of course, a part of it is the desperation of the team being that they starting to have economic issues with the cap, and the fact that the coach is in the third year and the Saints are in a 3-year playoff purgatory, where they're not even at some measurements even close to sniffing the playoffs. So it's very interesting where the Saints are. And that's what I'm saying. The energy of how they're operating, they're detached from reality in my book. They really are. And I'm not saying I'm sounding the goddamn horn in the whistles, because it's almost like they sleepwalking through this stuff. I'm just going to keep it $1.15 with you. It just weird. It just doesn't have the urgent energy that you see Philadelphia operating with, or you see Atlanta operating with, or even Carolina. They don't have the same urgent energy to improve the team. They acting like they just got off the playoffs. Yeah, we was in the playoffs and we building forward. They're not exhibiting the same energy and force that some of these other people are. And it's not because in every situation is different, but the energy is the same. It's either a powerful, urgent energy that moves you in a direction, or it's some type of malaise. Like they just going about the motions. And I'm saying to myself the whole time is, you got an overvalued opinion on Derek Carr's game. For a guy that been in the league for 11 years, staring people down as much as he was doing it last year was horrible to me. And that was a 10-year veteran. I've seen quarterbacks play that are in college and in pros who didn't do that much. Young quarterbacks, 2 or 3 years, and they knew not to stare down people. Every now and again they do it, but we got a 10-year veteran that stared people down. I mean, literally stared them down. You know, so there's an overestimated view of who Carr is. There's an overestimated value of who Dennis Allen is to the general manager. There's an overestimated view who Mickey Loomis is by Dennis Lucia. And Dennis Lucia is not a football man. He's a businessman. You don't ask him football questions. He'll send it to Mickey Loomis. And if Mickey Loomis is the biggest football brain that you have in the building, you got problems, Jack. Bottom line. If Mickey Loomis is the biggest football brain you got in the building, you're going to be sounding like this. But in the end of the day, man, we just going to keep it bucking, man. I just don't like the energy that I'm seeing from this team, man. But maybe it'll change. We'll see. All right, so anyway, let's slide on into this one. NFL bans the hip drop tackle. Cam Jordan responds. Shout out to Canal Street Chronicles. They dropped some scoop on this on Monday. The annual league meeting in Orlando, the infamous hip drop tackle was banned by the NFL after growing safety concerns associated with the technique. The ban was approved by NFL owners to protect offensive players from lower body injuries. This legislation has become a recent focus after multiple hip drops caused several significant injuries this season. Now, Cam did chime in on this. Cam didn't like it. You know, Cam had the throw up emoji, and Ian Rappaport's tweet says the NFL banned the hip drop tackle. The competition committee was unanimous on it. According to NFL's recent definition of hip drop tackle, it occurs, quote, when a tackler grabs a ball carrier, swivels and leaves the ground, then falls on the back of the ball carrier's leg, right? The main opposition to this penalty comes from the grievances over the growing laundry list of tackling restrictions and the difficulty of accurately calling the penalty by an official. So you're going to have a bunch of mistakes with that. The NFL Players Association was actually against the penalty. New Orleans Saints defensive end Cam Jordan voiced his displeasure with the decision. And as someone who makes a living from tackling, who can blame him? Cam's tweet says, DUMB. Everyone knows it. Watch how you hit a QB. Can't hit anyone over the middle. Now watch how you tackle. And then somebody named Susie said, this is so dumb. Jordan will enter his 14th year in the NFL and will have to make adjustments to his tackling technique. Dennis Allen did not comment on the ban during his interview. He don't really too much comment on none of that. But anyway, that's Cam. Cam didn't like the call. All right. So we'll see how that all ships. How y'all feel about that, man? Let me ask y'all about that. The hip drop tackle. How do y'all guys feel about it? And Cam said, how are we supposed to tackle people? How are we supposed to tackle it? And boy, you're going to see a ton of mistakes the referees make on this stuff. I could just see it coming. You get them idiots another thing to do, and they just going to just mess it all up to hell. All right, anyway, and this is a cap, just to share with the family members a quick cap update. According to Over the Cap, as you can see, roughly the Saints are over $8.3 million in cap currently, just to let you know. All right, so anyway, still in the poll right now is that the Saints poll is still leading the charge, 10+ wins for the black and gold, according to 36% of the Whodats that were polled in this thing, man. It's all to the good. All right. Yeah, Arvin says, let me hit some of the family members in the chat. Shout out to you guys for being up late, man. I'm not going to hold you too long. I just wanted to talk at you for a few minutes. Arvin says, why do people think Carr, some elite QB who's held back by coaching and the offensive line? $150 million, bro, is why people think that he's some type of elite quarterback. The part of Carr's game is if he was more accountable, and if you can get somebody to make him more accountable, he can turn in some big numbers. But he's the type of dude he has to be motivated to do so. Like, you have to have a coach that's on him. That's why he had better numbers under John Gruden and based on everybody else. John Gruden don't play that shit. John Gruden is similar to Sean Payton in many regards. He won't let him make it with that. That's why those numbers were big under Gruden. He was making them, keeping them accountable. And that's what kind of coach you need. You don't need a coddling ass dog like this Pete Carmichael was last year, who wouldn't tell him the truth. You can't watch tape on a quarterback and watch the quarterback stare down the field and not correct his behavior. And it went the whole season. Until people was watching tape saying, how are they looking at tape? What kind of tape watching y'all doing? And you overlooking this major flaw of this guy's game. That's a fundamental error that will cost you ball games to do that. So it's $150 million that think that with the proper team around him that he can soar to levels that he didn't with the Raiders. Now listen, portion of that is true, but you got to have a guy, like I said, to make him accountable. Can Clint Kubiak be the guy to do that? Plus, you have to have the offensive line around. They have to run the ball. You got to have a defense in place, and all this has to work to his advantage. And like I said, when he starts staring guys down and all that, you got to get on him. You got to keep him straight. And that's what it comes down to. But that's what they thinking, man. So he got to prove a lot of guys wrong. And I don't like his fake positive stuff. And you know what I mean? And I don't want to make that sound wrong, but it's a time when it's a time to go there. It's a time to do that. Like, when you start talking about that after the game, people don't want to hear that. They want to hear what happened. Then after you go through that, then you can lead in that. Don't just come off the bat and say, we're just going to do that. No, we want answers first. Then get off into your fake positive bullshit after the fact. It's like there's real positive energies out, and then there's fake, there's fraudulent ones. And that's just something that from time to time I witness him do just to skirt the answers. He don't want to address the answers. That's a mechanism he used to escape away from accountability, where you start getting into the fake positive stuff. And I recognize the technique, and I'm like, man, I don't want to hear that. You need to answer these questions on why you're doing it. And that's what I'm saying. He's not a guy that's a self-motivating guy like a Drew Brees type. Drew knows how to study film. I don't know if you're a quarterback with good sense, you can look at the tape and see where you screwing up. Like, man, I shouldn't have threw that ball over there. Well, I was standing over there the whole damn time and had wide receivers running to the right there wide open. Why didn't I look over there? How you go look at tape as much as they say they claim they are and still go out and make the same mistake? I don't get that part of the game. Studying tape means that you're supposed to correct the errors that you made in the previous game, or at least severely reduce them so that it don't cause you to lose the next game. You get me? So, I mean, I don't know what kind of tape studying they doing, to be honest with you. Jack says, so what you're saying is last year everyone was picking us to win the division, and now we're scrapping the bottom with Carolina. Actually, we're over Carolina. Carolina is actually what they're saying is scraping the bottom. Carolina is the new bottom. Last year, Tampa Bay was the bottom. So, in essence, whoever the bottom is, it seems like they might be the team that win if this new trend keeps up. But the real interesting part about it is, as we continue to move forward, Carolina made a move today. They signed Jadeveon Clowney. That's not nothing big to us, Jadeveon Clowney, you know, but it's big to them. They thinking Clowney can help them along with what they added, because they added DJ Wonnum. They added Kalavion Chasen. They added him, and then they added Jadeveon Clowney to Evero's defense there. And the defense last year was actually a pretty good unit. So now they add these weapons and these pieces here that they think they can use to kind of help take them to that next step. But they're trying. You get what I'm saying? They're trying. They're bringing in people. They're moving people around. They're doing this. They're trying. They're trying. Jack says, why are we Colin Penning like Derek? I don't know if they're not Colin Penny. Oh no, they're not. There's no coddling of Trevor Penning. Oh, that's absolutely not true, Jack. They're not calling. They've buried Penning. Last year, Penning was active and he was buried on the depth chart. You were pulling guys off the practice squad and putting them on top of them. And that had to not look good for the young man. That really, because he was talking about confidence issues, but no, hell no, they ain't coddled no Penning. You know, they buried Penning. And I know his confidence was way in the toilet. You know, no, there wasn't no coddling going on. The big coddler, the king coddler, was Dennis Allen, and his underling coddler was Carmichael, and they would not let you throw any darts at that damn quarterback. Let me tell you something. You're not going to talk about my quarterback. That's how they was handling it. Asa says, we will have the same issues like last season. O-line will be garbage, and Kubiak won't be able to do what he wants because of the handicap O-line. They got to get busy. We know that they brought in one offensive lineman. Now, there is a limited amount of options here. It's not like an infinite amount of options where we can't tabulate exactly where they're going to go. They can only go into these different rooms. Room one is what they're going to do with Trevor Penning. Could Clint Kubiak, or rather John Benton, the new offensive line coach, get Trevor Penning up to speed and get him ready for the right tackle position? And I said tackle because the guards are kind of stacked right now, because you just brought in Ali Udo, who might compete at the left guard position. They possibly seeing him as this guy that's challenging James Hurst for that position, right? And then you have Nick Sell-DeVary, who's also operating as a guard. So the guards are kind of piled in right there. Then if you look at tackles, we need tackles, and Penning is a tackle, just not a left one. How does he look on the right side? Now, I've been saying that for a long time. I think that he can learn to play the tackle position from the right side, not so much the left. It's a whole nother animal. So, you know, do they get Penning together? Did they believe that Trevor Penning could be somebody that they can put together? Another room they can go in is they address it in the draft. They get a guy. Now, listen, we've talked about this before, about what the Saints possibly can do with some of these offensive linemen. And fortunately for them, they have a really good group of offensive linemen, tackles, that is, rather, in the draft that they can go to. There's quite a few of them that you can go to. I know Joe Alt is out of the question. I think Joe Alt will be gone. Fashanu more than likely will be gone inside the top 5. But they got a handful of really talented tackles that's available. You know, like I said, Fashanu, Joe Alt, those guys more than likely going to be gone. But you'll have a guy like Fuaga from Oregon State. You'll have J.C. Latham from Alabama. He'll be there. Tyler Guyton's another dude. Even the big guy from Georgia, they got him elevating. He's starting to gain ground. Mims is his name, from Georgia. He's another guy. So they got quite a few really good offensive tackles that's available. Are the Saints looking to get a rookie tackle to protect the blind side of its $150 million quarterback? Are we willing to do that? So that's another option. Another door they can go to is they can trade. They can pinpoint a offensive tackle that they like and see if there's one available for trade. That's another room they can go to. That's not something the Saints actively do from an imagination standpoint. Like we've seen teams around, like our adversaries do. We've seen Atlanta make trades. We've seen Carolina made several trades. You know, we've seen trades happen. We don't see the Saints involved. But in the end, that's another door they can go to. So it's not an infinite amount of doors they can go to. We can pretty much kind of pick which, kind of lay out which doors that he can walk through. And ultimately, they can do that, or they can just pick up, make drafts because the previous items. And then as the season gets older, like we get into camp, you'll pick up an older veteran guy to kind of hedge that. And then as the season gets ready to start, the regular season, they'll have cuts that happen. And perhaps the Saints will then try to find a bargain basement offensive tackle or somebody might release, and then they'll ultimately bring them on the team. So there are different doors that they can go through in this whole thing. So we'll see how it goes, man. So in the end, it's not an infinite amount of doors that we can't like look at and say, well, they're going to do one of those things, if anything. All right, Arvin says, Q, there seem to be some Raider fans that think Carr is elite. Well, that's because, bro, he owns a lot of the records in Raiderland. Derek Carr is a legend to many people in Raiderland, man. Not in the Who Dat Nation because your guy is Drew Brees. But Derek Carr owns a lot of records for the Raiders. I think he owns their ultimate passing records, touchdown records. It's something like that. He's up there. So a lot of people believe that because of he owns a lot of records for the Raiders. And they got a lot of respect for him out there. And people can't perceive that here because we got Drew and Drew did what he did, but Carr did that for them. So, that's one of the things. Asa says, Hugh, these type of moves that happens when you not trying to win anymore. Is that the feeling that you get into, Asa? I just talked about that, bro. Like the energy, because you can tell it's not an invisible, creepy energy that you can't witness, that you don't know what's going on. You can look and feel and see how the team is moving. And pretty much say to yourself, whether or not, okay, this team, we know they're trying to win games. We know they're trying to do some positive stuff. You watch the Philadelphia Eagles matchup. I mean, the Eagles, what they're doing. You watch the damn Eagles. The Eagles are doing some stuff. The Eagles making trades. The Eagles making some signings. They doing some stuff that that shows that they're trying to compete. You see what Atlanta doing. You see Atlanta making moves. They signed Kirk Cousins. They overpaid for him, but hey, he filled their biggest need. He's a severe upgrade over the Riddler. And then he adds talent to their offense. They're doing some stuff. They are showing you, hey, man, we are going all in. We tired of this losing stuff. We want to make the playoffs. We want to go beyond the playoffs. It's an energy and a drive that you see. And the Saints not operating on it. We can look at it, feel it, and see it. They sitting up here, like I said, they have the feeling or the energy of a team that feel like they just got out of the playoffs. And they like, yeah, we did good last year. It's not the same. Like you missing the playoffs for 3 straight years is a certain urgency you're supposed to have. That's why I say this people, they detach from reality. That organization needs to be shaken up, man. They need to be shaken up because we trying to tell them, hey, man, you need to move faster because these other people are outstepping you. They're outpacing you. And they say, oh, well, we got a plan. Oh, well, you're fine. We got a plan. We're going to, no, you don't have nothing. You don't have nothing. This is a competition. The NFL is a competition. It's a competition for resources. Whoever get to the best players first or set themselves up financially, they'll win. Atlanta's tired of losing, and they're doing something about it. Carolina's making moves. Carolina just signed Clowney. These people are not playing. They're making trades and they're signing people. They're not playing. They're not playing. And the Saints are like moonwalking. But yeah, that's the same energy I got from. I just said that, man. You can tell when the team's serious about winning. Yeah. Asa says people think they're crazy to think that they'll get 10 wins. I think a lot of the family members just tired of losing, man. They're just trying to send some energy out there. Slim says they better get an O-line together so the car don't mess up with the mask. Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed. All right. Oh, yeah. No. Okay, thank you, Jack. He said I deleted the comment here. I meant not Colin Penley. No, I now I get what you're coming from. I'm just saying that the only guy that I've seen them coddle is Derek Carr, and you cannot do that. And I spoke against that the entire season because you've seen Carr stand up there and we called him telling lies. We got the answers. Now, Q, how he lied, man. Every time I say that, people like in the comment sections later on, like, Q, how did he lie? How did what he said? And I have to go back and say, fam, during the season, we covered all this. You sitting up there talking about, yeah, we got the answers in the building. Put one in the chat. Y'all remember that. Just stand up that line. And I said, this guy is standing up here lying about answers to stuff that he spoke. That would never be the case with Drew Brees. He's like, man, listen, we trying to figure it out. We don't know what what to do. We trying to figure it out, but we got the answers. They in the building. And then Jeff Duncan and Mike Triplett asked him, well, what's the answers? I can't tell you. You can't tell me how you going to fix you stinking. You ain't going to tell me how you going to stop yourself from looking and staring down people, not going through progression, stuff that quarterback's supposed to know how to do. Just insane, just crazy. Look all the ones. Indeed, he stand up that line, and then that's what happened when you coddle these people. No, they have to be forced to be accountable. You can't come down here and take $150 million out of the Saint Bank and not expect you're going to get some of this work. It's not going to happen. You have to be able to be a person that step the hell up and show up. And if the quarterback is doing that kind of shaky behavior, that is not a good sign because you have a weak coach. You got a lying quarterback. That is a recipe for disaster. That is a recipe for disaster. The coach don't want to tell the truth. The quarterback is running from it. So your only hope now is Clint Kubiak. He don't buy into this BS that they're doing right now, that he comes in and say, no, you're going to be accountable. You're going to stop staring down people. You're going to handle your goddamn business. If he does that, then you'll see the Saints offense step up and have, because it's all they need. Now, they need to add some more people here on the offensive line to run whatever he's trying to do. But I'm saying the big part of what's going on with the Saints offense is not accountability. Guys are not being held accountable equally. There is no accountability on Derek Carr, except for with the Who Dat Nation, the Great Saint Think Tank, or bring it. That's it. And then when we bring it, Mickey Loomis forms a wall to stop you from doing it by calling you and telling you that you know it, you negative noise, and that you're not qualified. He said all this, that you're not qualified to talk about Dennis. Well, you're not qualified. And then the next question, of course, I asked the question, well, Mickey Loomis, what qualifies me to talk about your ass then? Well, you have to buy a certificate for me. I don't know. Hell no, we ain't doing none of that. We're going to still talk about your ass. So, I mean, it's just one of the things, like, you look at it, and a lot of these people, they write these articles, and they just trying to give you something to talk about. And I understand that. But my job is just like their job is trying to give you something to talk about or just to put something on you, because it's difficult to just write about the Saints every day. So people have to kind of draw and be real imaginative of what they want to talk about. But in the end, the reality is it's not hard to talk about something when you're keeping it real. I don't have to create all kind of narratives and all this shit. I just come out and keep it real and tell you what time it is. It's real easy for me. I don't have to play no sugarcoating games. I come out and tell you, family, listen, we got a quarterback that is being coddled. We got a quarterback that is not accountable most of the times. We got problems with, this, that, and the third. We need to get fixed, because that's what you do. We don't come out and just gloss over the errors and issues of the team. They won't get fixed that way. And you don't think for a second you're not having an impact, because you are. Every time we get together and we talk, we create and spawn off ideas that writers write from, that people start talking about. Every time we get together, we spawn. That's the thing. They listen to you. especially when you know what you're talking about and you got a track record of knowing what you're talking about and you're consistent in your message. They'll listen, because a lot of people don't have that. They got to behave in a certain kind of manner and way to do that, and you don't really have to do that. Just tell the truth and tell the people how it is, and they'll love you and appreciate you for telling them the truth, because too many people lying to them. That's real. As far as the Saints goes, I've been saying this about Ram. I've been saying this about the Saints, and over the last couple of years, and really over the last year, I've been really letting Mickey Loomis have it, because he been out of bounds. And nobody checked his behavior, not Gail, not Dennis Lucia, to get there and say, hey, Mickey, you don't tell the people that support the team they're not qualified to talk about the coach and he losing, bro. Well, I got a little animated. I'm tired of those goddamn guys. I'm the great Mickey Loomis. I found Sean Payton. And just like I found Sean Payton, I found Dennis Allen. He's a young Sean Payton. He's going to show their asses. I'm telling you. Yeah. No, Mickey. Nobody. That's what I'm saying. That's what we're here for. We can't let that happen, man. You can't disrespect the Who Dat Nation, man. You can't do it. So, like I said, man, at the end of the day, when we steady out and we look at the team and we see some of the moves the teams are making from a defensive standpoint, the Chase Young situation lost a little glamour, or, because of the injury, the neck issue. But still, if he gets healthy, he's a help. He helps. Willie Gay Jr. is basically your third linebacker. They say he's going to be competing for a starting job. Yeah, he got the third linebacker position. Who is he going to be out? Is he going to take Pete Werner's position? Is that the idea? Because he damn sure ain't taking DeMario's. And Pete Werner finally started playing healthy. So is that something? I mean, he got a starting job if they run the 4-3 linebacker situation. He's the third linebacker. But offensively is where we need a lot of help. Offensively speaking, we need a lot of help. We need more wide receivers. We need more offensive linemen. You're going to talk about needs and starters. You are down one left tackle and a right tackle. You need a left tackle and right tackle. You need to figure out your guard situation, and which is the biggest part of the team with a new offensive philosophy coming in. You got to make sure you have the right players to run the new system. So the offense needs a lot of work over the next several weeks to months, and it seems like they're going to try to grab some of that talent pool from the draft. We'll see how it goes, man. There's still a lot of time going on right here, but they need to pick it up, man. They need to start picking this stuff up, man. All right, shout out to Six Tyree G on Instagram. Shout out to my boy Strike 7, man, as well. Appreciate you, brothers, and listening to me on Instagram over there, man. Much love to y'all. But listen, fam, I'm gonna get ready to get out on here. Y'all, much love to y'all, man. M. Dot says we will not progress as long as DA and Carr are here. This is the last year, man. 3 years, Dennis Allen. 3 years with Dennis Allen. 3 years. And like I said, we weren't the bottom feeding team. We were one game out of making the playoffs in Sean Payton's last year, and we didn't get that because Sean Payton wasn't dialed in that year. He wasn't dialed in. I covered it at the time. I talked about him talking in November to Jay Glazer of Fox about breaking the story about him retiring at the end of the year. He was having those discussions with Jay Glazer. Jay Glazer came out. I played the interview that offseason after that year was over with when Peyton retired. I was like, Sean Payton during the season was having discussions with Jay Glazer covering his retirement. He wasn't dialed in that year. If he was, the Saints would have made the playoffs in this final year. He wasn't dialed in. Who has retirement talks in November? I said November. He said it. Glazer said it, and I have it on the show back then. So he wasn't dialed in. So the Saints missed the playoffs that year. And then the next year, they picked up Dennis Allen. They've been out of the playoffs for 2 years. That's unfortunate. All right. So anyway, 3 years of mediocrity. Yes. Well, I mean, he got to go somewhere, bro. There's no keeping Dennis Allen if he don't make the playoffs this year, man. There's no keeping them, bro. You can't justify keeping them for a fourth year if they don't make the playoffs. People are not going to go for it. It's going to be tough on them this year. It's going to be tough on them this year with the money, because people like me and you and the rest of the family members out here saying, we're not going to them games. We're not going to none of your events. We're not buying none of your stuff. That's going to have an economic impact on them. And we all know when you start doing stuff like that, you can change the game, man. All you have to do is just do what you're doing. Just don't go there. Don't buy nothing from them. And tell them why you're not buying nothing from them. I'm displeased with how this team is performing. I'm not happy with Mickey Loomis. I'm not happy with Dennis Allen. I'm not happy with how disrespectful Mickey Loomis has been. You know, you know, like I said, I'll be giving the numbers and all that stuff. You can call up there and complain. And tell them why you're not giving them the money too. Why you're not giving it to them. They'll change the game, man, because they want the money. It's all about the money, fam. And you got the money. The money comes from you. You can change the game. All right, so anymore. That's right, Slim. No more $20 nachos. That's right, man. All that's ridiculous. All right, so anyway, fam, I'm going to get out on that. Listen, y'all have a fantastic night. Y'all, what tomorrow is? Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow. Thursday, we'll talk more about it. We got the Pelicans playing tomorrow. That's going to be a busy day. And like I said, fam, I'm working on, and I'm going to start rolling out these draft shows where we talk about some of the top picks, the top quarterbacks, the running backs, wide receivers. We have all that. We're going to be laying that out over the next several days, covering every position group in the draft, talking about people that can really, you know, and give us some diamonds in the rough and stuff like that. We're going to really get heavy into the draft stuff as we get closer and closer to the draft. You know, we'll have a lot of those shows. There'll be shorter shows roll out with B-roll attached to them so people can see who these people are as we talking about it. So that's stuff that I'm really working on right now to get done as we move forward. So like I said, you know, I'm forever working. But anyway, with that being said, fam, I'm going to get out on that. I appreciate y'all. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Sports Coma representing the mighty Who Dat Nation and the great Saint Think Tank. I'm going to holler at y'all on our Thursday stream. Much love and Who Dat to you.
Yeah. Boogie like Vincent, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Vincent, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a Who Dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Vincent, I'm a Who Dat. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network. WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shops.